Team USA just made history with Jordan Burroughs claiming his 7th world or Olympic gold medal. One wrestler ended USA's medal drought at a weight, and Kyle Dake announced his next move for where he'll be training next, and that might surprise you. So let's stop stalling and get to this week's wrestling headlines, starting out with Jordan Burroughs making history. He is officially going to go down as the greatest American wrestler of all time. Over this past weekend, he won another world medal, his 6th gold medal internationally, which was absolutely incredible of a feat. He will be going for another Olympic gold medal in the upcoming years, and it's said that he's actually said that in 2024 is when he's going to retire. So definitely enjoy this time while you can. It's official that he's the GOAT because he just passed legendary wrestler and Oklahoma State head coach John Smith, who had 6 world and Olympic gold medals. And Adeline Gray, a women's wrestler, also had 6 world or Olympic gold medals. And Jordan Burroughs now goes down as the greatest American wrestler ever. And he added to America's medal count in the World Championships. This was a huge past week for Team USA. Holy moly. I mean, this has to be one of the greatest Team USA's of all time. Not only did he win a gold medal, but a couple of other wrestlers did as well. That includes Kyle Dake, who won gold at 74 kilos. David Taylor won gold at 86 kilos, and Kyle Snyder won gold at 97 kilos. These other medalists, which I'm getting this information from Intermat, but also watched the World Championships, which was a blast. Thomas Gilman claimed silver at 57 kilos. Yanni D claimed silver at 65 kilos, and that actually ended the medal drought at 65 kilos. It's been quite a few years since somebody has medaled internationally in men's freestyle overseas, and Yanni D finally ended that drought. Zane Rutherford, who was also competing at 65 kilos in the past, claimed silver at 70 kilos. And then the last guy here is Jaden Cox, who claimed silver at 92 kilos. And like I said, this has to be one of the greatest teams of all time. Not only did all of these guys medal, and the first time that all 4 of those guys in the same year claimed gold, which it seems like, I mean, those are the creme de la creme, the top of the top guys in Team USA, who were the top guys in college wrestling as well during their respective times and reigns. But now they beat Team Iran. Team USA had 198 points to Team Iran's 150, and they clinched it even before the final day was here. What an incredible performance by Team USA. Now, there were a couple of other wrestlers who competed. You may know that some college wrestlers or guys who were in college and they ended up going to compete for other countries, such as Sebastian Rivera, who competes for Team Puerto Rico, placed 5th at the World Championships. And then Stefan Micic, who was a Michigan wrestler, actually placed as well. He won a bronze medal at 57 kilos for Serbia, and he became Serbia's first ever freestyle world medalist. He was the history maker here, which is impressive. And I also want to mention that at 61 kilos as well, Seth Gross actually placed 50's top 5 in the world. A Wisconsin wrestler, South Dakota State before that. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention the women's team. The women's freestyle team placed 2nd overall behind Team Japan, with Tamira Mensah-Stock, who, I mean, just love seeing her compete, love seeing her interviews after. And Amit Allure won world titles, won the world gold. 7 world medalists for the women's team. Amit Allure actually was the youngest American wrestler to win a world title in history. She's 18 years old. And between the men's freestyle team and the women's freestyle team, they had 15 medals overseas. And I believe that had matched history from the past, from the last World Championships when there was also 15 world medals. So this team is just incredible. The one thing I'll say on all of this, right, is you see how good the lineup is, right? You see the Thomas Gilman and Yanni D and Dake and Burroughs and Taylor and Snyder. And the one thing I have to say is, man, I wish all of these weights were available for the Olympics, because what a team, what a squad that is. And of course, there will be some competition going into that as we get into the Olympic year in the many upcoming months. But the one other big news over the weekend was Kyle Dake announced his plan to move to the Nittany Lion Wrestling Club. This to me was absolutely shocking. I did not expect it. He was, of course, training in Cornell, and in his interview, he gave gratitude to Cornell, of course. I mean, he won 4 NCAA titles at Cornell. He won a few world medals while he was training with the Cornell Spartan Combat RTC, and now he's moving away. It may seem like a shock, like why on earth would he do this? And there are multiple reasons to do this. He said one of the reasons is training partners. Of course, you got David Taylor at Nittany Lion Wrestling Club. You got Kyle Snyder at Nittany Lion Wrestling Club, along with all the great coaches there. Not that there aren't great coaches at Cornell training there as well, but when you have all of these guys in one room, all the guys who are winning world medals in one room, it seems like a fair move to want to go there and maybe learn a little bit of different technique, up his game, and just get a different training environment as he heads into the upcoming years. Now, this next piece of news was exciting because you may know one of the other greatest wrestlers of all time, we mentioned Jordan Burroughs, we mentioned John Smith, is Dan Gable, the legendary Dan Gable, and he's actually heading to Western Pennsylvania for an event. He's celebrating 50 years since he won his Olympic gold medal. This is called Celebrating 50 Years of Gold, an evening with Dan Gable and wrestling legends. And you can actually attend this event if you're interested in it. It's at South Point in Canonsburg, Pennsylvania, which is my hometown where I'm from. And I am planning on being at this event because there are going to be many wrestling legends here. It's not announced a full list yet, but if you are able to get out to Western Pennsylvania to hear Dan Gable speak, to hear some of these stories that these other wrestling legends will be talking about, oh, this is not something that you're going to want to miss. The tickets are $120, which, I mean, especially if you're in Pennsylvania, Dan Gable doesn't get out to Pennsylvania often. He's an Iowa guy, right? But seeing him in Western Pennsylvania is something you're not going to want to miss. Again, you can get tickets down below. I have the link that you can check out. And we have to get to a piece of sad wrestling news that happened over the past week, and that's Coach Gary Taylor, legendary Rider head coach, passed away at the age of 73. Very sad news. He was as a coach at Rider, had 442 dual meet wins, third most of all time, 110 conference champions, 15 All-Americans, and 14 conference titles during his time as the Rider head coach. He was rushed to the hospital last week with a heart attack and passed away later in the week. Very sad news. Of course, Rider Athletics is mourning, and prayers go out to him and his family. But one of the things that I found very enlightening and neat about this, what happened, of course, there's nothing like neat necessarily about somebody passing away, of course, but in lieu of flowers, the family's asking for contributions in his memory being made to the Rider University Wrestling Booster Club. And that just goes to show you how much Coach Gary Taylor has meant to the sport of wrestling and to Rider, how much Rider meant to him. And that's, of course, why the family wants those contributions to go towards the Rider Wrestling Club. I have a link down below for that as well if you're interested in giving to the Rider Wrestling program to help out with all of that. And so let's end on a piece of a little bit of higher, more positive, upbeat news and a little bit dramatic news. And that's that Carter Starocci straight up called out Mekhi Lewis. Called him out on his Instagram story. He said about the upcoming NWCA All-Star Classic, which of course is going to feature many great bouts. Of course, one of those is at 174 pounds with Mekhi and Carter Starocci. And on his Instagram story, this is what he said. He said, "This bout won't go the distance. Come in ready. Don't want to hear it's preseason, not in shape BS. I always come prepared." I can't even believe that he just said that on social media. And I actually gave my full take about this to the Fanco Fanatics behind the scenes. If you're interested in hearing that full take, you can click the join button below this video or on my channel to get those extra videos if that's something that you're interested in. But this just goes to show that this matchup, this preseason matchup, is legit. You know, it may seem preseason, may seem early. Like, I get that guys aren't peaking yet, but we are going to get one of the greatest matches early in the season. I mean, this is a NCAA Finals repeat match that we as fans are going to get, and I can't wait to see that. I'll keep you updated with everything. If Carter calls him out again, if Mekhi says something back, I'll keep you updated with that. But for this week, these are your wrestling headlines.